Episode 342 of the Thicc Pod, your home for all things sports, cards, and levity. I am the Mac Daddy, Jeremy, joined by Mac Daddy Jr., Manny, and Mrs. Mac Daddy, Courtney. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, Thicc fam? We had a hell of a show that we went to. We put in some work, you know. We came back a little happier than going there. We almost died. Courtney got stuck like 30 times trying to get there.
It was so many times.
Jeremy and I were in a mid blizzard. It was worth it though. We'll say that. I even picked up a Luka auto. We'll get into that. But we went to Shipshewana this weekend. Did trade night. Trade night lost power. But what does everyone say? The hobby's alive.
That
shit was alive.
Go on.
There was no denying that the hobby's alive based on the absolute insanity of people showing up to that show in probably I'm 38 years old, and that was top five for me, worst driving conditions I have ever driven in my life, and maybe even top two. I was trying to think. I was like, as I was like fearing for my life, I was like, have I ever driven through anything this bad before? And I can't honestly remember ever driving through anything that bad. And yet I did it. And so did almost 300 other people to go to trade night, not even the show, trade night. So if anybody doesn't respect Shipshewana as like a huge, important show in the Midwest, you are missing out because it is.
I'm a little confused though, and I'm a little upset, and we're going to get off the rails here for a second, but it was my understanding, Courtney, you were 26. So I think you and I are going to have a very uncomfortable conversation.
If you want to have a really uncomfortable conversation, you need to decide if you really want to say that we have a 16-year-old daughter and I was 10.
Yeah, come on, Jerry. What's your response?
I didn't hear anything Courtney said. Her internet must have cut out.
Yeah,
Get
I bet.
better internet, you bum.
You should pay for better internet. This is your house.
All right, so can we like just set this up, because I think everything that you had to navigate to get to said show makes it that much more of an incredible experience, and also makes for a little bit of a fun story. So I will start that day as I was in North Carolina, flying back to Detroit. The entire plan was for Courtney to pick me up, get home, change, grab some stuff, and hit the road. That morning, my trusty Delta app alerted me and said, hey, you better get the hell up out of Dodge or you might not be going anywhere, at which I panicked and I looked and I was concerned about the storms coming in. Matthew, if you want to go ahead and log off, you can go ahead and listen to this on podcast form, bud.
Let's go.
So anyway, Court was riding with the girls. I had the boy, and then I was going to go over and pick up our son, Manny. As we're driving, watching the radar, Courtney calls to ask me where I'm at. And I said, I'm driving through the storm. This sucks. Courtney goes, it is beautiful by me. Not an issue with the road. To which 5-10 minutes later, she called and she's like, I take that back. I spoke it into existence. This is going to be a miserable drive.
Jeremy went due south and then he went west. And I just started heading west right away because he was going to pick you up. And so I was like further north than him for a little longer, and it wasn't bad where I was. And then as soon as I started like turning to head like south towards Indiana, all hell broke loose.
That is correct. So we grab Manuel, we get him buckled in his little safety seat in the back.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? You get him a sippy cup, you put on the headphones, and then you get Toy Story 3 going, and he's a happy camper. We start driving, and what's normally like 3:15, 3.5-ish, as you're driving, the time that you're going to arrive is getting longer and longer and further out due to, I mean, it was blizzarding all over our face.
When I left, my GPS said that I would arrive at 5:45, and I did not end up arriving until 7:45. So if that's any indication of how bad the roads were, it added 2 entire hours to my drive.
Yeah, it was the one time I was truly thankful for four-wheel drive. No issue for me, but everybody around me was either going into the ditch, turning into roads that weren't there, doing spinneroonies and donuts. But yeah, as we were getting closer, and there was flashes into the sky, green flashes. There was wind. We were like in a snow globe.
What were they called? Snow lightning?
Snow lightning, per the boy. Not a proud parent moment there, but I digress. So I had Manny check. And now when you get into Shipshewana, there's nothing. There's Mennonites and there's Mennonites. That is it. There is no Starbucks. There is no gas stations. There is nothing. So if you're screwed.
It's also a dry county.
Well, I mean, we were driving there, Courtney. We weren't already partying.
I meant like afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Because I could have used several drinks after that drive.
Yeah. So anyway, to cut a long story short, we check on Instagram and there is no power. There is no power at the trade night. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe so
snow lightning is real, but it wasn't snow lightning.
Manny's the electrical engineer. And so I'm like trying to get the breakdown from him, and he was just stammering. And
yeah, right. I got it right. I literally told you within 2 seconds what it was. There are transformers blowing up. The reflection of the snow was making it green throughout the sky. And you had Steven in the back saying, UFO, snow lightning, look at the green light. And I was like, calm down, Steven.
I appreciate you bringing this into this. Is one of my favorite things to do when people just kind of like wave their hands for no damn reason, like it means something. So anyway, I thought, well, what the hell's the point of going to trade night if there is no power? And I'm always the one that's let's find a solution. I am not the one that lets BS get in the way. And then Courtney's like, no, we're going. So you pull up to the parking lot, and now mind you, it like 6 to 8 inches, 10 inches, I don't know. 24 inches.
Is it men math or woman math? As far as
men math was 33 feet.
33 feet of snow, yeah.
But I mean, cars were parked everywhere. I mean, there was no. It was like you threw a box.
Parked or stuck? Because I watched people just be like stuck in the lot.
Both. But I was like such a G. I just left my car running the entire trade night.
So did I. I also did.
Yeah. So
I did not have 4-wheel drive. I was driving a minivan. And
so if you were to go on social, you would see there was a tremendous amount of people who did not go because the roads were so terrible. The weather was so awful. Over almost 300 people at trade night in a blizzard.
Did you see the picture that Brad posted of everyone doing trades in the dark with their flashlights from their phones? It was such an epic picture. I'm going to share that on Too Thick and Reckless because it was it was so epic and so I don't know, just like a definition of like the crowd that goes to that show.
Yeah. Well, Jeremy and I, when we saw the lights were out, we instantly thought we're not putting our cards out. We have like thousands of dollar cards, and imagine the lights going off and just someone could easily just yoink your cards because they're just sitting on tables. So you could tell where Jeremy and I kind of grew up. We both looked at each other and we're like, nope, we're good. Let's go to the hotel.
Yeah. So now here's the kicker. We get in. I got a PSA order to pick up. Courtney goes to pick it up. And unbeknownst to me, we had an SGC order pop as well. Shout out to TNT for the gem on the Mike Trout out of 10. That is a beautiful day. So we're pricing cards. Not even 45 minutes into me being there, we had already done more in sales than we did like our last card show.
The whole show. And we did really well at the last show. Mm-hmm. The last show we left in Lansing, we're like, this is the best show we've ever had. And then we went to Shipshewana Trade Night. We're like, oh, Trade Night was the best show we've ever had.
Money was flowing. People were buying, selling, trading. The vibe was awesome. And it was like one of those things still as an adult, when you put like just globs of cash in front of me. That night when I finally got back to the hotel room, I had the table up and I was just like, I couldn't fit it and fold it where I started folding money and putting it in team bags and stuffing it.
Imagine if we got pulled over. Imagine if we got pulled over and he pulls out there's a team bag just full of wad of money and a Mexican in the car with him. We're going down. We're going
You
downhill.
have wads of cash, a small teenage boy, and a Mexican. That's
Yeah,
all
this is not good. Not good for Jeremy. It's not a good look. Also, I do want to say, Don, know,
it is like Handmaid's Tale. Only I don't know.
I want to bring this up because these Florida people are
That's
trying
what
to
they
give
look
us
like.
crap, but we are different breed up here. We don't. I mean, if it's a 1 inch of snow, their whole state's shut down. We drive through feet of snow, so I don't want to hear.
We're built different up here, bud.
We're built different up here.
I was talking to Sarah Layton actually the other day and about the Tops convention, and she's like, it was freezing there. I'm like, in Arizona? She's like, yeah, it was like 40. I'm like, 40? That's shorts and tank top weather, my friend.
Dude, that's like when we went to Layton Sports Cards and it was like 65 and 70 and we were in like shorts and
I was
t-shirts.
wearing a sundress.
And they're like, it's so damn cold.
Lane was like shivering and wearing a hoodie. I'm like, get out of here, you guys. Come on.
See me in the heat. No, we would turn like Brandon and get all lobster-like.
Yeah, and shout out to Don. He's probably live at the casino right now.
Rolling
just
dice.
really spending that taxpayer dollar. Shout out to him. That's my guy.
So back to the show, or back to trade night, because that's where we're at. It was so backing up a little further. My mom and dad usually keep the girls when we have to go to Shipshewana, just because they're 4 and 5. They're too little to go to a show like that, and we're there all day, and it's like it's work. It's not like walk the show and then go home. It's there's nothing there for them short of like ripping a few packs, and then they're like, okay, I'm ready to leave. So unfortunately, my dad wasn't feeling well, so my parents couldn't keep the girls, so we ended up having to bring them. So I'm driving, with Amelia, the 2 little girls in the back, through like death storm, thinking to myself that I am quite possibly the world's worst mother. Like, who does this? And I had tricked myself because all of the weather reports said that Michigan was going to get hit and Indiana was going to be fine. So when I was driving, and I'd been driving for like 2 hours and there hadn't been any snow, I'm like, oh, I'm going to miss the storm. Like, I'm going to make it there. I'm going to miss the storm. And then all of a sudden I looked out and I'm too far towards it to like turn around and go home. So I'm like, I'm just going to go. But I just watched everything go up. And Indiana doesn't believe in snow plows. They don't believe in streetlights. They don't believe in salt. But they do believe in horses and buggies being out in a blizzard where you can't see on the side of the road, just being
Courtney,
in the
way. we talk about us being built different than the Floridians.
Yeah.
The Mennonites, that was a beautiful day for chorin as far as I'm concerned.
They were out there, man. They were out there in the blizzard in their horses in carriages. I'm like, you can't miss me with that. I would not be out in a carriage in a blizzard. So we get to the show, and it was Kai and Lala's first time going to Shipshewana, and they went to trade night, and let me tell you, they had an absolute blast. They loved it. Kaya told me this was so much fun. She was super into it. She bought wrestling cards. She wanted wrestling cards. She got Pokemon. It was like one of those like moments where that this is going to be like a turning point, and they may be our like next generation of card collectors in the family.
I do want to, those horses, shout out to those horses, man.
The horses were putting in work.
Those horses were putting in.
Amelia was so mad that they had them parked outside. Do you park a horse?
I mean, yeah.
They were parked outside, just like standing in the snow, and it was like driving. So she's like, "This is mean." I'm like, "These people have puppy mills. They don't care about their horses."
No, they were passing Jeremy. You know how pissed Jeremy got when he got passed by an Amish person? He was not excited. And then he was laughing because they don't have power ever. So they're like,
they do though. They do like lamplight. They have like really extensive gas lighting in their houses. After we started going to Shipshewana, I got like deeply in like Amish and Mennonite TikTok, and I've learned a lot about them. So they have TikTok.
The Amish Wars.
No, is that a thing?
It's like they say it was real. It's not real, I don't think, but it was like a war on the Amish. Like they're, the mafia of Amish were fighting with each other.
Oh, no, I'm gonna have to watch that. I'm very intrigued with the whole thing. I find it very interesting.
Oh yeah, I asked Jeremy on the way there. I said, "When's if Courtney never shaved her armpits like the Amish people do?" And his face just went, "Ooh."
Lots of people don't shave their armpits. That's sexist. You don't have to.
Oh, I do. I shave mine.
All right, we're all like completely off track. Me and Manny are just like fucking spinning.
I know
around over
Jeremy's
here.
like, I'm trying to talk about my trade night.
Breaking Amish is a good show.
See? Told you.
All right, I'm sorry. So back to trade night. Jeremy,
Yeah,
Jeremy was doing some deals at trade night. Well,
Yes,
no, actually he wasn't doing deals. He posted up and was just like mad comping and pricing cards. Like he had a computer set up at trade night. He had his mat, he had all of his cards. He got like loads of cards back from TNT. So he's like comping those out. He's like Steven's team bagging everything. So we're pricing cards, we're team bagging, we are doing deals. It was if we were churning inventory, it was crazy.
Let me tell you something though. Whether it's Hail Mary, Matthew Person, Breaking Wax, Ajax, any of these people that jump in our live, they absolutely made an uncomfortable situation for me just because I assume everybody has a sense of humor. So as people were walking up to my table, I was busting everyone's balls. It's been a long week. I had been on the road. I just flew in from North Carolina, and like I'm not a good sleeper. So I had gone like 4 days with like 3 hours of sleep. So like 12 hours of sleep total. And so I was just kind of like talking smack to people. And unfortunately, I made a couple. I know I made at least one person uncomfortable. And I kind of regret it. I mean, I kind of don't, but I kind of do because it's never my intent to make somebody feel uncomfortable. And it came from a place of pureness. But yeah.
You're a true dickhead. That's all I'm gonna say. Because
he is a dickhead. I told him, like, as he's like saying this, I'm like apologizing to the person. I'm like, oh, I'm like, you were gonna buy cards from us, but my husband's an asshole, so now you're gonna leave. And like, he's like, no, everything's fine. And then he fucking ran away, and we never saw him for the rest of the show. And I was like, you made him very uncomfortable. So if anyone out there, Jeremy, he only teases the ones he loves. What is that, like Jeffrey Ross? We roast the ones we love, right?
But I didn't even roast him.
No, I know.
It was like on a scale of 1 to 10, it was like 0.1.
For you, maybe, but for other people's perception of
well, then, he's soft, man.
No.
Anyway.
Hey, enough.
Anyway, I wasn't whatever, but it made me feel bad. Then I was in my feelings the rest of the night because I'm not out here trying to make somebody feel uncomfortable or awkward.
Who's soft now, bitch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got in mind because earlier that day, like myself, Manny, Vadim, Don were all live, and we were all just like kind of like I was in the mood where everybody was shooting the breeze. And then all the Thiccelos are going to my head because they're coming up, talking to me, telling like, hey, we played you screaming cocaine on the shop on repeat.
Someone just walked up to our table. We have to like paint a picture. We do the children's scavenger hunt. And this man walks up to our table and just yells, cocaine, like really loud. And I'm like, Bear, Cocaine Bear, the movie. Cocaine
yeah, but
Bear.
we dapped it up. We dapped it up and then let everybody know that we were talking about a movie, not the A1 Yola. So anyway, back to trade night. Trade night wraps up. We go back to the hotel and we do trade night after hours, where we we rip wax, we have drinks, and it's slowly
stuff.
Yeah, package that stuff, and it's slowly getting bigger and bigger, and more people are learning that if you go for a 10-minute drive, you can find a Hilton property, which, in my humble opinion, greater sign than that Amish living.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's like a McDonald's and a Taco Bell, which is,
I want to say that trade night though was probably better for me than the actual show, because I got one of my biggest cards, and I was able to trade out of a good card. Shout out Brett, but there was a lot of soccer, that's so soccer dealers there. No, that is true. Ajax used to say that. They also gave me a jersey that said "Me Ho," but it was spelled MEHO. But yeah, there's a lot of soccer dealers there. I always struggled at selling soccer in the Michigan area. So we go down there. I bring all my soccer cards. Brett, like I said, shout out him. Had a Holland refractor rookie. Here it is, right here.
Damn, you had that ready to go.
Oh, I did. I was pumped.
He's super excited to show it off.
I was. I traded an Mbappe, match worn, pop one card. It was numbered out of 99. For this, I also got 2 other cards and some cash on top of it. So that alone, I could have just slept in the following day, but I had to help Jeremy and Courtney out with the show. But yeah, so I just want to say, if there is a trade night, sometimes try to make it there. It's a lot easier to get deals done, I think, in my opinion.
I'm telling you, I was always against trade night until I had my first taste, and I absolutely love an active trade night, especially like the one in Shipshewana, because it's opened up. There's plenty of space. There's tables for everybody. You're not on a dirty casino floor in Atlantic City. It is so well done. There's typically a food truck, beverage. Like, Brad and the whole Bees crew does an incredible job putting that thing on. So I always tell anybody, yeah, you have to come for the show, but you have to be there for trade night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Dennis last week he had a good point of how people travel in to go to Shipshewana, because like we've been alluding to, we haven't really outright said it, but we've been alluding to the fact that it's like mostly Amish people there, and there's not a lot, and everything closes by like 8:00. There's nothing, even on like a Friday and Saturday night, there's nothing to do. So it really forces people to engage in the card stuff. Like I bring food and drinks to the hotel afterwards so that we can have like another like trade night after, have a few drinks, have something to eat, because there's nothing out there. So you're really like your whole focus, there's no entertainment. You're not like, oh, we'll go to the card show and then we'll go out to dinner and then we'll go to the bar, we'll go to the casino. It's not like that. You go to Shipshewana and it is like a fully immersive experience of a card weekend.
Mm-hmm. It's getting bigger too, that trade night at the hotel. At first, it was just like us with Gene and his son.
They show up. The Amish, are they Amish or Mennonites? I'm not sure, but they come to the show. They wander the show. They look at stuff. So I don't know if they collect it necessarily, but they do participate, and I think that's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to just after the trade night was cool as well. Highlights of that real quick is Courtney opened her Disney box. I opened 2 hobby boxes of soccer, pulled nothing. Guy next to me, my man, speak of the devil.
We were just going to talk about you.
Brings 1 blaster, comes 42 minutes late after eating microwave cheeseburgers out of his room.
Just said shout out Brett for the cards.
Yep. And then comes down and decides to pull a superfractor out of a damn blaster. Meanwhile, there's a million wrappers in front of us, and we couldn't pull ish.
A 1 of 1 Weston McKinney superfractor. Oh shit!
I know. So he wanted to keep it PG on his IG story, and you hear in the background Courtney saying that. It was priceless.
That's true emotion.
What's up, hobby champs?
And so Brett is the OG of the after hours trade night in Shipshewana. Brett's a day one. And so we've gotten to know him, and we look forward to seeing him, approximately 4 times a year, have a couple of drinks. This time he was wounded because he went to war with animals. He tried to play human cocaine bear.
He was like dog fighting. No.
He was ripping packs with one hand. The other one was all bandaged up.
Like,
and my man pulled a superfractor out of Merlin.
Merlin.
Unbelievable.
Retail.
Merlin a blaster pack. And Brett's so nice that he left 2 boxes. Imagine leaving the box that had the Weston superfractor in it.
Well, that's karma. He had 4 blasters when he stopped at the store, and he put 2 of them back so some of the kids could get it. Card karma's real.
Now those kids aren't going to get any hits, though. So feel bad.
Maybe those were that was like a fire case where you're going to get a ton of cool stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I enjoyed it. Courtney, shout out. You talked about your Disney. Look what just came in today. So I got another box today.
I got 7 more boxes showing up in my house. 7.
I'm a little nervous to open this because this is the same case that Bro Namath's cards came from. I got time to play.
Nice.
This is the same case as Bro Namath, and you saw what happened to his hits. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm going to open it with my daughter. So she loves it. It's worth it.
All right. So it's the morning of the show. And
I was so crabby that day.
The beautiful thing was, well, not the beautiful thing was, so due to all the power being out everywhere, I didn't make the hour-long trek to go get Starbucks. So Courtney and myself were sitting downstairs, and she's like, "Where is Manny and Steven? Where are they?" And so Manny came down, and Courtney went straight, "Mom, badass, get the hell out of my way" mode. Now, for anybody listening, Courtney is not a morning person. Courtney is the kind of person that hits her stride at like 8 p.m.
11.
8 p.m. until like 3 in the morning. That's prime Courtney hours.
Mm-hmm.
I got down there at 6 o'clock, and Courtney was awake, ready to kick this day in the ass. And obviously, she had spent, several months planning the scavenger hunt. She's got the angst and the jitters to ensure that it goes off. And so, just one quick story. Manny came over. He's like, "I'm ready to go." And she said, "Manny, go eat." And he's like, "No, I'm fine." She's like, "I am not going to sit and listen to you bitch and complain that you're hungry or that your sugar's low. I have a show to put on to make these kids happy." And then she did this where she gritted her teeth and she goes, "Go get something to eat right now," under her breath. And I was just, I was like, "Yeah, Mama, tell him something." And Manny put his head down. He went and got his Cheerios and his Go-Gurt, and we were good to go.
Yeah, she said that, I ran to the thing. I was like, no, and then no, the best. The reason why, I woke up. I should have went to bed super early because I took NyQuil at 10 or at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I don't know. I was taking Dayquil at 2 in the morning in the treadmill.
And then Jeremy woke me up at 6, so I had no idea where I was until probably noon. And then I was fine because I was like, "What is going on? What is this world?"
And in fairness, I did leave the show and go to the gas station and get him a Monster and a Red Bull. So
yeah, you did. You hooked me up. Thank you so much. You knew I was like, I needed something.
So the show was 8:30 to 3, but because of the weather, yes, she did, Mr. Hughes. Yes, she did. But as a result of the weather, they extended it 1 hour to 4 o'clock. So you do the normal load in, you get everything set up, you make last minute adjustments. And then, Court, you want to talk about the scavenger hunt through your eyes, what you saw? And then me and Manny can put our finishing touches on it because I know how hard you worked and I thought it was flawless and this was the best one yet. But I'll let you give it.
It was a lot of fun. So the weather kind of screwed things up because a bunch of the vendors were late. And one couldn't make it at all. And so I was a little nervous at first that things were going to be not good. But I pulled the scavenger hunt things and I just stamped the ones for the person who wasn't going to be there. Because the second that the kids go, they take off and they're in the show. And they will wander around looking for that last person who isn't there. And that sucks for the parents. And I don't want them to have that experience where they're like, "We spent this whole time and nobody told us this guy wasn't here." So I maybe the first 10 kids, I didn't catch them, but everybody else. That scavenger hunt, we used to start it the second the show opened, but the kids were they would line up at the booths while people were still trying to set up, even before the show started, because some of them come with their parents who are vendors. And it would get overwhelming. So now I keep the cards with me and then I set them out right at 9 a.m. when the scavenger hunt starts. This was the biggest one we have ever done. It was it was also B's first time having an athlete autographing cards and stuff and balls and whatever people wanted. Balls. So Rodney Thomas from the Colts was there, and Brad generously donated a free autograph to be added into the tickets. So we started out, when we first started doing the scavenger hunt, doing slabs. We would put slabs in them, maybe $5 to $10 slabs in each one of them. So we were spending hundreds of dollars on these, which we still spend. We probably spend more now because now I've switched over to sealed. I buy hobby boxes of all different sports, Pokemon. This time we did Star Wars, Garbage Pail Kids, racing. I had Mario Andretti cards. I don't everything. I try to get just as many hobby boxes of things. And then we keep, so that when you do the hobby boxes, you keep the hits in there. You could get autographs and relics. And so these kids are pulling actual fire. I watched a kid pull a silver Zach Wilson rookie card while he was standing at my booth. He was so excited. And then he also got the gold ticket so he could take it over and get it graded immediately with the SGC from TNT. So we started with the slabs, then we switched over to the wax. And when we did that, TNT Sports Cards, shout out to them because those guys are just incredibly amazing. They started donating, we'll call them golden tickets. And they came up with the idea. They're like, oh, we should donate, free grading. And I'm like, what if we made like little golden tickets like Willy Wonka and we put them in the prize packs and then like 10 kids could find them and you never know, who's going to get it. And they thought it was a great idea. We ran with it. We did 10 for two shows in a row, and this time they upped it to 20. So even more kids were winning these grading vouchers, basically. So when they did that, I added eight coupons from Reckless for actual hobby boxes in mystery packs of wax, so of like sealed wax. So I got like gift bags, and then I put hobby boxes inside of these and then taped it up. So if they pulled one of those tickets, they got a whole box of wax, not just like packs. Or they got the free grading. And then Bees donated one free autograph. So there was another ticket in there for that. So the amount of prizes, just like really good prizes in this scavenger hunt, like far exceeded any one that we had done before. And I was so excited for the hunt because Ludex joined. They donated wax. So they were a new sponsor. We had 12 different table sponsors. So these kids had to spread out and go to the whole show this time to make sure that they were hitting every corner of the show to find all the stamps. Sports card machines, they always donate stuff too. So that like, it's so nice the way this hunt has like really made this community come together. It's not just like a sponsored event where the kids show up and that's it. It is the entire community of Shipshewana collectors that have come together to make this hunt as big and fun and exciting as it is. And I cannot take credit for that because you couldn't do it the same way if it wasn't for this group of people that does it with me. So once that was all done, when I realized how bad the weather was, I was like, we did all of this work and we're going to have all these amazing prizes and nobody's going to show up because the power's going out. The roads are terrible. Everything is so bad. And we had the most kids. I made 300 packs, guys, 300 packs. And I came home with none. Zero.
Shout out to Amelia, who was on mommy duty, daddy duty, who stayed up late helping stuff packs, and then watched the girls at the hotel to make that happen.
Yeah, because we couldn't have done it without her. She was tremendous. And it was just like a lot of like our whole family. What I really like about it is our whole family puts in to make that happen. It is something that we do together. It's something we do TikToks about it, going up to the show. The kids get super into it. They help me pick the wax that we do. They help me print the cards. We go to, Walmart and get the giant poster board and it's exciting. And it's something like not only that I'm doing for the community that I care about, but that is something that me and the kids do together.
Yeah. Well, Steven, you got to give shout out to Steven too, because when you were gone,
he was handling it.
He was handling it because Jeremy and I weren't going to do that. We didn't know what to do. So we would always be like, Steven, there's kids. Steven, there's kids. And he would go over there and he would get excited. Like if someone had a golden ticket, he would come over. Where's mom? Where's mom? Someone hit the wax. Someone hit the wax. Someone hit the golden ticket. And in my head, I was going to ask Courtney during this whole thing too, is it frowned upon if I trade some of my cards for these golden tickets that these guys are getting? I trade a lot of cards.
You might be able to.
Huh?
You might be able to. They probably would trade.
I mean, they're trading. So at one point, I look over and there's like 4 or 5 kids, right? They pulled, it was Chronicle WWE packs, right? And Jeremy's standing by like the pick your own price cards. And they're like, hey, sir, would you trade this pack for this card? And Jeremy was like, yep. And then he's opening them, like he's all getting excited to open them. So then they all saw Jeremy say yes. So now they're all picking cards, and Jeremy's like, yep. And you could just see Jeremy was excited about opening these wrestling packs. So he even got excited about the kids trading with him.
And then Manny got excited when I pulled some wrestler by the name of Nikita Lyons, and he said that's the new Thicc PC.
Oh yeah, she does this. She's the one that does the splits, and you got excited.
I got excited for how excited you got. It was nice to see you motivated by something outside of a bowl of ravioli, my friend.
That's messed up. That's messed
So
up.
I want to say something that was really cool. The amount of people who go above and beyond to give more is I don't have the words, man. It is truly special. And I think I remember from concept to the first time we did it to what it's turned into now, it's just a very surreal thing that people will come out of pocket money, time, energy, effort to help make it bigger and better. It's that's wild to me. It's wild. There's people who have bills. There's people that, barely have enough money to get by, and the fact that they're willing to give more to ensure that kids they might not even talk to have a good time is very it's pretty special, and it makes you feel proud. Like you hear community thrown around a lot, and I think sometimes people don't they just say it. Like you truly feel it when you're here. It's wild to have almost 200 tables of like-minded people ensuring that we're looking out for one another, that these kids are having a good time. And so, like Courtney said, without them, none of this is possible. So all the praise, to them. Now, on a lighter note, I will tell you that, a couple of the kids who I felt like were working, some of the younger ones, when Courtney wasn't around, I let them sneak by without getting all the stamps.
No, he did too. He was like, "Tell Steven they're allowed," and it was like they're missing a couple of stamps. And
I feel like
to be fair, just so you know, I often let them go without the stamps if they're not all the way done, and I can tell they've been looking and looking. I'm like, just you're fine. Come on.
Well, like I
was
like
some kind of staunch monster. Like, no, you must have every stamp.
Well, like the 19-year-olds doing it, the ones with the Adam's apples, the beards that are like, I can't find this. I'm like, well, you're gonna have to work, man. You're gonna have to go work.
I like that the older kids do it. I had someone say something to me at a different show about the older kids participating, and I'm like, what would you rather they be spending their time doing on a Saturday?
No, I'm not talking about the older kids. I'm talking about the grown men trying to get.
They're teenagers.
No, I'm talking about the grown men trying to sneak in.
Okay.
But then I was going like work mode. I'm like, I authorize this. And I'm like, I'm sure Steven had no idea what the hell I was talking about. But this is the first time ever. Normally the girls take it to the boys. The boys dominated this year.
There was a lot of girls that participated though. Like,
No. But every single one, the girls have always absolutely wiped the floor with the boys. I don't know.
They always finish way first.
The boys are always like the boys got together and said, not this time. Not this time.
Not today.
You're actually not wrong. Oh, I didn't bring my bracelet. One of the families that come, it actually made the feature like full page picture in the article I did. I just love them. They're like the nicest people. Their daughter made me a bracelet and brought it to me as a gift. And I was just like blown away that she took the time to make me a present.
So scavenger hunt was a success. You actually thought that we were going to have too much, and we left with absolutely nothing, which was wild. Because the night before, you were like, it's better to have it and not need it. So we cut more and made more. And then we're like, we're going to have too much. 200 tables, a lot of activity. I'm going to start with you, Manny. How did you do? What was your thought? What was your feedback? Buy, sell, trade, the whole shebang. Give us a rundown, kid.
So this show is like the actual first time that I kind of traded in real life. I don't really trade as much. I just buy and sell. And trading is really fun, but it's with particular people. Like I got to have a good persona when we talk. You know what I mean? Like just be friendly. There's sometimes where I try to trade with someone. They're like, no, like short with me or not. But if you're willing to like, have a conversation that, like, for example, I traded with Brett. We were talking soccer for like 10 minutes before he even initiated a trade. And I like those kind of deals. I do want to say, and I don't know if you guys know this, because I know, Courtney, you're into the pop culture type of world. So you know those collectors. Jeremy, you're into like the basketball and you have a little bit of the soccer, and you're just you do a lot of everything. But I know Courtney's like kind of is specific into pop culture with her Stranger Things. And I like soccer and starting to get into TCG, but the soccer community like the actual community of soccer collectors are amazing. Like they're not trying to get up on one another. Everyone's trying to basically build your own collection. That is true. I didn't know. Matt does ask about trading. I don't know. I've never traded before, Matt, so maybe it's a new thing. And I just did my first trade. Brett broke my cherry, so I'm ready. But yeah, so every community.
We had the same face. It's first of all, if you're gonna say it like that, you gotta say popped my cherry, not broke it. That sounded really gross. Just
Hey, same thing, right?
No, it's much more vulgar the way you said it.
No, okay.
I was like, ew, immediate like ick. I was like,
yeah.
Hell of a transition from
broke your cherry
children's
discount.
scavenger hunt to Manny's cherry.
I know.
Like,
Well,
it's like broke your cherry. Nobody said.
I'm trying to say the community, the two communities that I'm in right now, it's really great. Like, no respect to the basketball and football, but I just feel like
no respect to them at all. Fuck those people.
They're trying to one up each other. They don't care about relationships. Like the tight knit group of soccer and TCG is a different story, and I think that's why I like the hobby a lot more. Just want to put that out there.
Manny, he's like, I'm gonna take this opportunity to shit on people who don't collect cards that I collect.
All right, so let me speak for Manny. Let me speak for Manny. My perception of Manny's experience was trade night was so incredible. He moved the Mbappe, which had kind of had his collection I don't want to say stuck in a negative way, but it was Brad, wonderful show, man. Well done.
The hero, the king of the local hobby has entered the chat, guys. Mr. Brad Beeman. Yeah. Absolute hero, legend, icon.
Mm-hmm.
Without Brad Beeman, there is no Shipshewana.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
even though his daughter was doing way more work than he was, I'm just gonna shout out to his daughter.
Me and her were working. We were putting all the tables away, talking loud enough for everybody to hear us. Just saying, "We'll do it. We got it." Yeah. I think Matt just established a community we want to avoid. Yeah, shout out to Gabs. Gabs was crushing it.
Oh my god! I laughed so hard I knocked my earbud out.
While we have Brad in here, should I show him what I got at a card show?
Yeah. Let's see it.
Hold on.
He's got to lift it, guys. It's heavy. Lift it with your. Don't lift it with your back, Manuel.
Check this out, Brad.
It's like a little kid. He's so proud of himself. Look at what I got, guys.
Look what I got. Oh, I'm gonna break something. Hold on.
He's blushing so.
You're a real one, Brad. You're a real one. Yeah. So Manny had such an incredible show. By the end of the damn card show, he was buying framed autographed jerseys.
Yeah.
Manny was on cloud nine. I have never seen Manny wheel and deal. In the past, if Manny was into a card for $1, he would not let it go unless he got $3. This, he decided to pay it forward and throw some good karma out there. Manny was wheeling and dealing like I've never seen before. People would just say a number, and I'm pretty sure Manny had already made up his mind no matter what they say. Yep, deal.
He was so proud. I was so proud of him.
I probably
was like, oh, my mijo is growing up.
I was like, if they offered your cards, I was like, deal.
You know what it is you seemed so much more confident this show than I've ever seen you at any other show. You were like radiating confidence. Maybe you should take NyQuil more often before you go to card shows.
NyQuil and
I think it's months of training and lessons learned and actually putting to action the things that he's learned.
Yeah. I mean, I said deal so many times, Courtney, that one guy came up to Jeremy and asked for a price. Jeremy said no, walked away. He came back and asked me the same price on the same card, which was Jeremy. So I looked at Jeremy and I said, would you do this?
Still $20.
Yeah, Jerry said it's still.
I have so much fun, guys. I left the show yesterday and I left early because we had to go home and I had to let the dogs out. And I was sad. I was like, oh, there's still an hour and a half left. I want to stay. And I, after like how much of a nightmare the drive was out, and the girls kind of being cranky and not getting a ton of sleep because I had to sleep in a hotel room with Lala, who was farting all night, and then Manny not getting up in the morning. So I was just like, what is going on? The feeling you get at a card show where you're just like with your people is it's not like a lot of other things, and I enjoy it.
So this is a show that you can go to, and you can spend the day going through dollar bins and walk away with monster cards because people have goodies packed in there everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You can find 5-figure cards, maybe a couple 6-figure cards. It's got everything in between. You have
signed jerseys.
Yeah, signed jerseys too. And then, they just showed you had slab stocks. You had Aaron and his dad walking around. You had Ryan, Card Collector 2, walking around. Jason Kuntz,
Courtney walking around.
Jason Kuntz was there. I mean, we spent the first 40 minutes talking about Courtney.
Yeah, but Courtney, are they in a book?
I have my own sports card.
Do they have their own sports card?
No.
I'll believe it. I'll believe it when I'm at PSA next week. I'll talk to Nat Courtney. If he authenticates it, it's a real sports card. If he says nah,
well, I mean, they wouldn't do Ken Golden's right now.
No,
they'll do mine.
You know what, Courtney? You want to know what was really cool about this show? We kind of talked about it, and you could tell that our Thicc fam, our Thicc loads are growing, because the love and support that we got this show. We keep saying it like, since Skyline. It's been kind of growing. But I'm standing next to Aaron, talking to Aaron, and the guy comes up to me and is like, I love Thicc. I love you guys. You guys are the best content. And I look at Aaron and I was like, ha, you got all those followers, but we got loyal ones.
Well, I mean, they filmed almost their whole show, their whole episode at our table with you guys. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's wild is when I'm there, I'm like laser focused, right? And so you have to make the most out of your time, which means like transacting, doing deals. The minute somebody that you don't know comes up and daps it up and like mentions something about a specific episode, I'm like, all the money be damned. This is awesome. I just want to chop it up. And like, all the people that think Cocaine Bear is the greatest movie ever just shows me that there are some intelligent people out there in this crazy world we live in.
There was like 5 people that came up to me, and
I've never even met these people before.
And was like, is Jeremy serious about this Cocaine Bear? Do I really need to go see this? And I was like, I haven't seen it, but he's on a different level about it. And then he would hear it, and all you would hear him say is cocaine. I'm like, Jesus.
No. To be clear, these people came up to me yelling cocaine, and I had to let everybody know that it's a movie and I had to drop the bear piece. Not talking about the drug, my friend.
Yeah, I know.
We're talking about the movie Martin Scorsese wishes he did.
No, I got a little nervous when Courtney left because she's like Courtney, when she's behind the booth, is like the jack of all trades. She could do everything. I can't do the kids. I wasn't able to do those kids repacks. I tried it. I actually got a couple people because there were some at the end that didn't know about the repack or the scavenger hunt. So I told them about it. They were excited. There was one guy in a Messi Argentina jersey, and he was pumped. Courtney, and you weren't here, so I wanted to tell you. He was pumped when he pulled the packs and he got soccer. He's like, yes, soccer. And I was like, yeah, you got let's see if you could pull a Messi. And he's like pulling it with his mom. It was the best moment of I could have done all the deals, but to see the kids actually smiling when they opened their packs, or how excited everyone was getting to get a golden ticket, which I wish I would have traded for because I have a lot of expenses through TNT. I need to spend money. So I would, next time, if it's not frowned upon, if there's a golden ticket, have them come over. We'll do a trade.
So TNT being there was a big deal because you could drop off cards for submission. ISA grading being there was a big deal. I had a raw LeBron walk up to my table, and I really wanted to buy it, but the auto just looked a little too bold for a rookie auto. So I said, hey man, for you to maximize your ROI, you want to get this thing authenticated and graded. There's a spot over there. Why don't you go do that? So sure enough, like maybe half hour later, the guy came back and it was a reprint. But how cool is that there was a card we wanted, and on site, there was something we could do to ensure where both parties were protected.
You know, I thought of that. I probably should have done that with my card that I had, the Spencer Torkelson. This is actually one of the mistakes I made. So I know people are listening. I always tell my mistakes, and I'm not perfect. I'm actually more imperfect than perfect when it comes to the sports card world. But I bought a Spencer Torkelson in-person auto, thinking it was a blue auto. That was embarrassing. I turned it around. I thought it was like, the ones that are getting redeemed right now. Yeah, Heritage comes out with blue ink autos and red ink autos, and I was like, a blue ink auto of Spencer Torkelson right now. Live in Michigan. It's going to be pretty good.
He showed it to me, and I was like, "Don't buy that." And he's like, "Why?" I'm like, you have to get, like, that needs to be authenticated before you buy it. And then I turn around and I was doing something else, and he comes over, he's like, "I bought it." And I'm like, "Why would you buy an in-person autograph?"
This is why he's our child, Courtney, because then he came to me after I didn't know he had already talked to you. And he came to me, he's like, "Look what I got." And I'm like, that's an aftermarket auto. And his face just sunk, like as if like I was gonna tell him something different from you. You're grounded.
You are grounded. Our kids do the same thing. They're like, "Mom said no, so I'm gonna go ask Dad," and then Dad says the same thing. And,
Exactly.
but it, if you could get that DNA certified, it'd be a legit card. But now you have to take it through DNA because it's aftermarket. And I have people come up to me all the time with like on card autos that they got in person. They're like, "Oh, I want $300 for this Larry Bird autograph," and I'm like, "Sir, you could have wrote that on there." I'm like, "Go get it graded, and then I'll buy it."
And so we this was for Reckless Cards specifically. This was our best show. And then even after like, and we talk about all like from everything from the way we load the equipment to the way we store it to the way we set up to like what goes on, what worked, what didn't work. This was the best one. But then last night it bothered me because before the show even started, Courtney moved. Yeah, I think that's incredible, Brad. I think that helps make the show go, and it protects a lot of people, and it's a value add. We were talking, I'm like, for the life of me, we sold all those cards before the show even started. You both look like zombies looking out the corners of your eyes, reading the comments.
Sorry.
Both of you.
I got ADD. My ADD.
I agreed. We're like full disclosure.
Both look like possessed.
I was hoping you didn't ask me a question because I wasn't
listening either.
Garrett's over here putting in the. I'm reading
paragraphs. I'm reading.
Yes, Garrett's putting paragraphs in the comments.
We have already determined when Cage was on writing stuff that I get easily distracted by the comment section.
So we sold all that wax before the show even started to Hollister Sports Cards, like
not wax
or loose cards, singles.
Yeah.
Right. And I couldn't figure out for the life of me because we've had great successes. We just do a name your own price thing. So we had just singles out everywhere. And as long as it wasn't like $1 for everything, we were just going to say, yeah, cool, man. Make some money off of us. Cleans up our spot. I don't have to have the anxiety about it. So today I was like, I wonder why we sold so much, but that didn't work out. And then Steven, in the most Steven manner, is like, somebody offered me to buy it all. And we're like, what did you say, Steven? He's like, I told him no.
Oh, I mean, you did put him in charge. That's on you. You put him in charge of that.
You did.
I know.
The only person to blame for that situation is you, sir.
Yeah, you're the leader.
100%. And I just simply said, like, well, if we're at a card show trying to sell cards, why would we say no to somebody that wants to buy cards, especially right after you just unloaded like 30 boxes of cards into somebody else's car? And then there was an awkward pause. And then, you know what? If that's the worst thing that happens in life, you're doing all right.
He really enjoyed doing that, and I think he thought like at the next show he'd be able to do it again. But if he sold it all, he wouldn't be able to. He was really enjoying. Like I was watching him like wheel and deal and get excited over making trades, and like he had a really good time doing that. And I think in his mind, if he sold all of that, then he wouldn't have anything else to do.
See, and that's why we like that as parents. Like those are skills where it's like it's a value that he'll learn that'll be applicable later in life. And look, no mistake really made, maybe a couple of bucks, who cares? But to Courtney's point, he was in his glory. He was absolutely in his glory. And so the show in itself, just making all those kids smile and help educating our son with some real life application, that's a dub right there.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, Steven's just like the normal, like when I worked in the factory, they do the same thing. They're not going to get it done right away because then they might get laid off the next week. Worried about the next week. He needs a paycheck. Keep coming. You can't blame the guy.
I
but here's the thing.
I think he ended up in that, like, those are like, you know, super value cards. I think he ended up making like $60 selling those. Jeremy gave him all that money.
Really? That's awesome. He did say, he was like, Manny, I'm in charge of this. I'm hoping to get $100 worth of sales, is what he said. And he's counting as they're going. He's like, what did that, when he left, Jeremy did some trades and sold some out of that. He's like, where did that card go? How much did it go for, Manny? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, oh, I was trying to keep track. Like, and then he was like trying to figure out, oh, you traded this Odell Beckham card for what? And I said, your dad traded it for a pack of cards. He's like, oh, I was hoping to get some money out of that. Like, he was like, you could tell he was into it. So shout out to Steven.
That was probably my favorite part. Like, the scavenger hunt was amazing. I love watching the kids, but watching Steven, like, I felt like he really, I really enjoyed watching him. This was like the most engaged he'd been in at a show that I've seen. Steven really he loves like collecting cards and looking at them and stuff, but like really watching him, you know, make deals and think about, like, are these two cards worth this card? It was, I was very proud in that moment. And that is, like, Steven isn't the kid that does that kind of stuff very often. So he's not like these kids with the Zion cases, and he's more of like a Manny, and like he's more like just like enjoying himself and not caring about the money as much. So it's true. I see, so like Manny and Steven are so similar.
Oh, that was
a compliment, Manny. I love my son. You can't take me saying that you and my son remind each other of each other. You take that as a negative thing. That's like you're shitting on Steven. Why are you crying at me?
No, I messaged Amelia to come get him. I don't know what she's doing. Oh my!
Talking to boys on text messages.
Goodness, that was golden. You know, that was good, man. But it did. You know what made me proud is like when he was in a situation where he had to make a decision, and he let the kid win. That is a pretty like fantastic feeling. So, what was your favorite card that you saw? And then what was the card that got away, like you couldn't get a deal done?
Go ahead, Courtney.
Oh, me?
Yep.
I didn't get to really see cards because I told you I did the scavenger hunt the entire time. I saw no cards at all, basically the whole show. So I didn't. This was like the one show. Literally the scavenger hunt was nonstop. I did not get breaks from that, except for when I ran to get food for the kids and go replace cards up at the front for more kids coming. I would say this is the first show where I didn't really get to shop or see things. I was very diligent. So, and I didn't realize that until you just asked me that question. I was like, honestly, I didn't see any cards. So
I would say, Jeremy, you saw the most because we had three different mindsets going into it. You were buying, I was selling, and Courtney was the scavenger hunt and trying to basically do it all, right? Courtney was doing it all. She had her kids at the hotel she had to go deal with. So it's kind of nice to have three different mindsets in a card, like at one table, all having the same experience at the end. But the one card that I saw that was pretty cool is a Jeremy Pena rookie out of 5, orange out of 5. It was BGS 9.5, I believe. I know Hail Mary would have liked that. But right now, like you've told me, is not the time to buy baseball. So I passed, and it was hard to comp. He was asking for what it was on eBay, and I can't do that because I told him if it was a good deal, this would have been already bought on eBay, and he kind of appreciated it. There was also an Ichiro Suzuki Topps Chrome. It was like the green border. I saw that and I wanted to buy it, but then I looked at it closely and it had a big indent in the back, and I was like, dang it, I really want an Ichiro rookie and the Albert Pujols Ichiro side by side, green, tops chrome. I think that would be like my next get, but those are the 2 cards I saw.
Let me ask you this, Manny, since you had probably your best show that you've ever had. Was it different being in a position where like you felt like the ball was bouncing your way, you were flush with cash, and you had the opportunity to buy? Did you catch yourself maybe over like wanting to be a little more aggressive than you normally would just as a result of being in that unique position?
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to do like multiple deals. I had the itch to walk around, but we didn't really have it was so busy at our table the whole time. But yeah, I did. I got more confident the more money I had in my pocket. Could have been bad news. That's probably why I bought that Luka jersey. I wasn't gonna buy it. But Luka's my favorite player. And I was like, I'll buy it and put it up. And if I don't get the money, it's staying in my man cave. So it's one of those things where I'm okay to keep it.
It's cool. I saw it. So I was actually picking up the food for the girls. And while I was sitting in the line at McDonald's for an eternity, I looked at Twitter and I saw that Jeremy had posted a picture of it on the Thicc, and it was like Manny buying more than just cards. And I saw the picture of it, and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Because
I
it
can't believe
it is so dope. It seeing it on the podcast and stuff, it does not like in person how incredibly cool that whole thing is, and the framing is so well done. The pictures, because you didn't really hold it up, but there's like a whole montage of like really cool like pictures on the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the custom framing is probably the $300 to $400 alone. The jersey on Fanatics is $700, and I pretty much got it for what the cost of the jersey is. So I was pretty pumped.
Court, you would have been happy. Manny had been eyeing this Erling Haaland card all day, and he must have gone and looked at it like 3 or 4 times, had an idea of where the dealer was going to be. He leveraged his relationship with Tyler from TNT to go over and take a look at it before he bought it raw, because he wanted to buy it raw and submit for grading. Now, is that not advancement in Manny's process?
Manny is, I like, no joke. And I guess, like, to be clear, because Hail Mary saying that I'm mean to Manny, I mean, like, watching Manny and Steven come into themselves has been a pleasure. Watching Manny's growth in like the year and a half that we've known him, from where he started and where he is now, it's incredible, and it is something to be proud of. And like, I see in Steven kind of that same like wanting to grow, not just like, oh, I want to buy this card because it's cool and I like the guy, but now like understanding, like, if I buy this card, is this the right product to buy? Is this going to be valuable? Am I just buying this because I like it and I want to keep it forever, or am I buying this and it's actually something that's valuable and can turn into something bigger someday when I'm ready for it? So it was like watching Steven at the show trade into things and like actually care about value reminded me of Manny and where he's gone. Only, Steven's Steven. So like it was nice. It was good. I felt really excited and proud.
You would have been even more proud. Steven made a best friend at the show.
I know. I heard all about Steven's best friend at the show.
And Manny wasn't just excited to get a deal. He was excited that the other guy was excited.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yes. I was. I didn't want to. I want other people to. You guys know me already. I want other people to be happy before me, which is a downfall by me. But
it is.
It's not.
It is.
It is.
Not in that situation.
I do. Before I forget, shout out to everyone. I guess you guys are the P. Will people, but everyone knows me now for the Frederico Chiesa, because I was getting left and right. People were handing me Chiesas. This was Aaron from Slab Stock. He gave me this blue Chiesa.
Hey, it's Slab Stocks.
No, just leave me alone. Let me say what I want. Everyone knew what it was.
Stop.
Man, he's like, I've had a fucking enough of you.
Yeah,
guys
I'm enough.
tonight.
That's enough. And then I got.
And I'm sure you're gonna say Nationals too, right?
Yeah, you're a hater. How about you go pick on someone?
Make him cry.
Yeah, make him cry, sensitive Charmin.
We just spent 10, 15 minutes talking about how proud we were of you in the
No,
advancement.
no. I was proud of you until this moment. Yeah. Now I'm hurt. Think on that when you go to sleep.
That won't bother me. I'll sleep. I might actually get some good sleep.
I'm gonna text Courtney and say I can't believe Jeremy's so mean to me.
No, she won't answer your message.
Yes, I will. I love Manny.
See?
No, I would say that it's a unique spot, right, Manny? Because oftentimes you're at a show and you're either card rich and cash poor, cash rich without cards, or you think that you're both, but in reality you don't have the cash that you really need, and the cards that you have aren't the kind of cards that you want to have, right? Like you start to learn what brands to avoid.
Yep.
This was truly from start to finish. The cards that we had were good and coveted. You had money, and I'm speaking to all of us. Throughout the whole thing, it was an incredible show. I will say, even though I didn't want to buy baseball, the one card that got away was a Bobby Witt Topps Chrome red refractor numbered out of 5. It was raw. I wanted it badly. I had the cash to buy it. The one kicker, and this is kind of a unique story, somebody owed this dude money and couldn't pay him, so they put up cards as collateral. So the guy was like, I would sell this. However, this guy owes me money. And so kind of a unique story.
Yeah, I mean, you would have. You say it's bad that it got away, but you've told me your number one rule right now is not to buy baseball.
Yeah, I mean, it was like I wanted it at my number if I couldn't get it.
Okay.
No harm, no foul.
I was going to say, what's the difference there? That's what I was curious about.
Yeah. I felt like the guy was eager to sell and kind of gave off the vibes that, he needed to move it. So, long story short, this is a quarterly show. This was the first show that, what up, Justin? This was the first show that we ever committed to that we were going to do. And when we started doing shows, it was 4 shows a year, right?
Yeah. And it was this show, right? This was your first show?
This was Shipshewana. You want to talk about being spoiled? Shipshewana was the first show we ever set up at.
Okay.
And we were always like card shop people. I met another kid while we were there who he's been collecting forever, but he never went to shows. He always just went to card shops. And that's kind of how we were. So it was crazy the first time we set up at Shipshewana, and then you go to other shows and you're just wildly disappointed. I was like, oh, this isn't at all what I thought card shows were like.
No, I couldn't agree more. The vibe is awesome. The people are friendly. It's got like that hometown feel, but like a bigger environment. Like if you go to the bigger shows, if you don't know anybody, it's easy to just get lost in the shuffle. Here you can go table to table. People are warm. They'll shake hands. They'll sit and chat with you. It's truly an awesome show. And we've told this story before on Hobby Night School. Shipshewana was the first show we ever did. Almost 200 tables. You sell a ton of cards. You buy a ton. And you're like, oh, wow. Shows are easy. I can do $10,000, $15,000 every weekend. I'm going to quit my job and just do cards. And then the next show, we went to some like VFW out in the middle of nowhere and did like $100.
No, it's a good one. I before the final recap, you guys are busy this week, so I want to let the people know what the plans are for this week for the Reckless family.
So tomorrow night or Tuesday morning, I'll be flying out to California to go to PSA. I'll spend a couple days at PSA. Hopefully, I have
a big card.
A big card. Hopefully.
That would make my damn year.
Card. And if not, I'm looking forward to meeting the folks out there, doing some networking, having a good time with some better weather.
Yep.
I will fly home Thursday. I'll get home late Thursday night. Courtney and I will cuddle. She'll be big spoon. I'll be little spoon. I will take a nap. I will grab a coffee. And then Friday morning, I will drop her off at the airport where she'll be flying to Dallas to attend the Dallas show this weekend and walk it and wheel and deal and hopefully buy some more Lukas.
You also are gonna go see Manny watch with Nat Turner, is what I've heard, right?
Yes, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna hopefully link up with some of my friends. I talked to Jason Gillespie. He's gonna be there.
Big dog.
Yeah, big dog. And trading card chick, she's setting up. I talked to Christina, Christina's PC. She said they live out there now, so I'm super stoked to get to see her pretty face. So it's just gonna,
We are so next level, Manny. We've already cut the first deal at Dallas.
Yes, I'm claiming that one too because he said it and I texted deal, so that's my deal.
Yeah. Shout out to Extraordinary Cards, Sold Too Early podcast. Slid into Dave's DMs earlier today and scooped up some heat.
Yeah.
Heat.
And he was like, "Oh, can you do cash at Dallas?" And I was like, "Deal." And I'm like, "I win. This is my deal now because I said deal. I don't care that Jeremy started it. I finished it, and I was the closer."
He sent me a message, and Courtney slid in and responded before I'm like, "I guess that's happening."
I mean, how many people remember Mariano Rivera? That's Courtney.
Yeah.
So we've already cut the first deal at Dallas, so I can already tell you Dallas is lit.
Yeah, I want to go.
We've been selling a long time. A long time.
Yeah, and then we'll come home. We'll walk. We're only going to be in Chicago for one day. We're going to walk the Spectacular.
Yeah.
Then the following week is Lansing. Then the following week, Las Vegas.
For the Mint.
Are we doing? I guess this is kind of off topic, maybe, because I know a lot of people that go to Shipshewana go to this Midwest Monster, and a lot of people asked us to go to Midwest Monster when I was there. So I don't know. Are we gonna?
I'm committed on Saturday the 18th to a daddy-daughter dance. I got to take little Kaya Bear and show her a good time, show her how she needs to be treated, and spend some time with the little Kaya Bear. But that Friday, we're gonna walk it.
Friday, we're gonna go to that. That's a sports card Spectacular.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the Midwest Monster in Indianapolis.
That's in July, right?
June. A lot of people have got a hold and said that we should go to that. So
it depends on the date. I haven't looked at the dates for that yet. We're also doing the Johnny Ford show in May on the 20th. And then we're going to do Shipshewana again that last weekend of May. So we're pretty booked up.
We're everywhere in Midwest. And then except Vegas, we're going to party. And Courtney, actually, Thicc's everywhere in Midwest. Courtney is national. So she's everywhere. Make sure you have your pen ready, Courtney, because there's going to be a lot of people that are trying to get your autograph on your new card at Dallas, I bet.
Oh, yeah, I should shout that out. We are doing a giveaway, guys. Don't forget on Thicc for Basketball Card Fanatic magazine. If you are not if you don't have a subscription to that, go to our page. And even if you do, if you have a subscription, you want to pay for it for a year, slide into our page on Instagram, like the post, follow Basketball Card Fanatic magazine, follow us, and then share it. And on Wednesday night, I'm going to go live and give away an entire year's subscription to Basketball Card. That's like $120. Plus, second prize, I'm going to send one of the magazines and I'm going to sign it. And that's a big deal because I'm not signing these magazines, guys. Just so you know, I don't like to sign stuff. So I will sign one and it will get mailed out to somebody who's going to win it. And there are bounties because like Rob, Sports Card Therapist, he's $100 for a completed signed one. Jeremy Lee's got $500 on one. Mm-hmm. So there's bounties on this, and you need my signature. I have a nobody, but y'all need my signature to get that bounty, and I'm gonna give one away with an autograph on it. An autograph? That sounds so stupid. But
yeah. Courtney charges $100 per autograph.
I don't get out of bed for $100. Calm down.
I charge $100 for Courtney to auto. Jeremy charges a lot more, and Courtney charges the most. But all right, well, Jeremy, did you want to wrap it up?
No, I think the Shipshewana show is worth attending. I encourage everybody to get out there and experience it one time. That's very kind. That is. So
I got a super cute picture of him too. I'll send it to you, Brad. He was holding up a bees sticker and the card. He was the cutest thing.
Everything about the show makes it awesome. And I know I give Brad a hard time about it not being close to a Starbucks, and shout out to him for making sure that there's coffee readily available. But if it wasn't for that drive, if it wasn't for the weather, if it wasn't for all of us being in the black buying and selling cards, the experience and the story isn't nearly as fun.
No, that is
No.
like I thought about it. I had like a moment of panic after the show with how busy that was. Can you imagine what May is going to be like?
Court,
If the
on a
weather
side note,
was-
on a side note, I just gave away a bunch of stuff to kids at the end because the mom went to pay for it because we said we took credit card. But when you left, you had the little the thing to swipe the credit card.
Oh, that's okay.
So, and tease only for you people listening in at the 75-minute mark. There's going to be a merch drop. Not going to tell you anything more, but there is a merch drop that we're cooking on, and it's going to be so sweet.
It will be. I'm pumped about it. So
that's all I got.
Courtney, anything? Make sure you follow Courtney at Reckless Cards.
Yeah, follow Reckless Cards. Go check out the giveaway. Also, Dangerous Minds or Dangerous Games podcast. Ever since Cousins called it Dangerous Minds, now I always do that. It's my own damn podcast. Dangerous Games podcast. Check it out. Give it a listen. I think it's pretty dope.
All right. And with that, I hope everyone enjoyed their hobby release.
Go see Cocaine Bear.
Go see Cocaine Bear. We have a couple guests this week. It's going to be a great one. Talk to you guys soon.
It was Oz. You're right. Sorry, not Tone.
The hell's Courtney with her hands?